Good morning, everyone. Parak Daled Mishna Tes. So this Mishnah is a continuation from the previous Mishnah. In the previous Mishnah, we had cases of where you had, for instance, you had a black fig that fell into 100 black ones and 50 black ones and 50 white ones, where you had a mixture of different types. One of those types had fallen in. The Bishurs are of the opinion that the black ones and the white ones, different ones, can combine together to make 100 against the truma that fell in. We have the opinion of Rebbe Lezer that it doesn't work. Then we have the opinion of Rebbe Akiva. So let's just let's review the case before with the black figs. So you had the white figs. You had 50 white figs, 50 black figs that had mixed together, that were together, and you had one black fig that fell in. Now, if it's a black fig that fell in, you know the white ones are permissible. Nonetheless, Rabbi Shua still says the white ones can come together with the black ones, can be combined with the black ones to nullify the truma, because if you would press them and mash them together, then you wouldn't be able to tell anymore which ones were white, which ones were black. And therefore, even though you haven't done the item right now, they are distinguishable. Nonetheless, Rabbi Shua said that mixture, that can still form the mixture to be able to nullify the truma. Lezer said it doesn't work that way. Lezer says it can't work. Being that we know that in the case where the black fig of truma fell in, the white figs were not forbidden. So therefore, we don't say that it can combine based on the fact that it could have been mashed together. If they're different, which means they're distinguishable, I know this is distinguishable from what fell in, so I know this is permissible. Therefore, it's not going to combine together. That applied in the same case when we're talking about the different size cakes of figs, different shapes of the cakes of figs. But Lezer says if they're different and distinguishable, which means you know that what fell in doesn't have any effect on one of the parts of what you want to combine to make a mixture, you can't make the mixture. Rabbi Akiva concluded yesterday's Mishnah saying, it depends. If you know what fell in, then I agree with Rebbe Lezer. If you don't know what fell in, then I don't agree with Rebbe Lezer. So now, Mishnah Tes is where Rabbi Akiva elaborates on that. Ketzad, how is this? Chamishim te'enim shechayrais v'chamishim levanos. If you have 50 black figs and 50 white figs, nafla shechayra, if the black if it's a black fig that fell in, shechayrais asurais, the black figs are forbidden because you don't know which one are the chulin, which one are the permissible ones, which one are the truma, which is the truma one. Alavanos mutarais, but the white ones are permissible because they're distinguishable from the black one. They are the white ones. We know they were permissible before. The reason said they're not permissible anymore, and therefore they're permitted. And the point is that's according to Akiva, that's what happens. We can't combine the black ones with the white ones to come together and make 100 against the one that fell in. And therefore, at the end of the day, it's going to be that when the black one fell in, the black ones will be forbidden, the white ones will be permissible. Nafla levana. Let's say the one that fell in was a white fig. Levanes asurais u'shechayres mutares. Then we say that the white ones are forbidden and the black ones are permissible. The white one was a white fig, fell in with the white figs. I don't know which one is the truma one, which one isn't. The black ones, I have no issue with. And they can't combine together to nullify the truma, and therefore at the end it's the white ones that are forbidden, the black ones that are permissible. Now, but let's say we're talking about a situation where you don't know what fell in, you don't know if what fell in was a black one or a white one, then they can bring each other up. Then we say that, okay, I don't know which one fell in. So now I have a question on both groups of 50 figs, whether it's the white ones or the black ones. Is it permissible, is it not permissible? And now that I have a doubt, a question about them, they can now combine together to nullify the truma. It's not like, and there's nothing distinguishable. There's not a distinguishable one that we know this is permissible, this is not permissible. We don't know. If we don't know because we don't know which one fell in, says Rabbi Akiva, so now I don't have anything distinguishable. The question is on everything here, and therefore they can combine together to nullify the truma. Now, There's a two things that I want to mention here on the spin Rabbi Akiva that's brought down here in the Yad HaGra. So I'm going to read it to you. The Mishnah states that the mixture contained 50 white and 50 black chulin figs. That's how it started off. In the case where when the mixture wasn't combined together to nullify. In the last case, however, meaning the case where you don't know what fell in, one could not have known this. You can't know how many figs of chulin were there. If one knew before the truma fig fell in that the mixture contained 50 white figs and 50 black figs, then one could determine the color of the truma fig simply by counting the white and black figs. No big deal. If you knew there were 50 before and 50 after, you don't know which fell in, count. You'll see whichever one has one extra more, that's the one that has the truma. Okay, that's the one that has the truma in it. So I'm able to know, I can determine the color of the fig just by knowing, by counting the number. Rather, one did not know how many of the figs were white and how many of them were black, thus the color of the truma fig cannot be determined by counting the mixture. The last case cannot be a case of 50-50. There's a bunch. You don't know how many there are. And since you don't know how many there are, counting wouldn't help you determine the color, and therefore that would be Rabbi Akiva's case, where you didn't know what it was, you can't determine it, everything's in doubt, they can combine together now to nullify the truma fig. Another thing, and that is that the case of Rabbi Akiva is where before it fell in, you don't know what fell in. I guess there were somehow or another, you knew a fig fell in, you know exactly how you knew, but there were somehow or another, a fig fell in. You don't know what color it was. Okay, so there we say, when the fig falls in, nothing is distinguishable, which one is permissible, which one isn't permissible, they can combine together. If the case were to be that when the fig fell in, you knew what color it was. However, after that, you forgot. I don't remember anymore. Which was what? It was a white or was it black? So when now that I forgot, one can say, well, now that you forgot, there's a doubt on all of them now. We don't know. You can't permit any of them. You can't permit any of them because you don't remember anymore which one fell in. Now they're all under doubt. Maybe they can now combine to go ahead and nullify the truma. That doesn't work. If at one point you knew what fell in, which means at one point you knew which group was going to be permissible, which group was not going to be permissible, you can't say, you knew which one permissible, which one is forbidden. Again, it was forbidden because of a doubt, but it was forbidden. I'm not going to be able to say, oh, now that I forgot, so now I can go ahead and make it permissible, make everything permissible now because I can combine them together to nullify. I have now 100 units to nullify the truma. If at one point we already knew which group was forbidden, you can't change that afterwards because you forgot. Okay. The next half of the Mishnah is really an introduction to the next case of the Mishnah, to the next Mishnah. In our Mishnah, which means, for instance, in the case of the white figs and the black figs, and again, you knew which one fell in, even if you knew which one fell in, we had Rebbe Lezer being stringent. Well, actually, Rebbe Lezer stringent whether you knew what fell in, but you don't know what fell in, because Rebbe Lezer argues with Rebbe Akiva also. We have in our case, in our Mishnah, where you had again different a fig of truma, something of truma fell into different types of things that were together, and what fell in was one of those types. Rebbe Lezer was stringent, and he said, it doesn't work. At the end of the day, even if I can't actually distinguish between the two, because I didn't know which one it was, let's say Rebbe Akiva's case, at the end of the day, but that's the way it is, right? We know that the truth is that one of them is permissible and one of them is under doubt. Whether we know it clearly or not doesn't make a difference according to Rebbe Lezer. If Rebbe Lezer says he's stringent. Rabbi Yeshua Mekel. Rabbi Yeshua was the one who was most lenient, because Rabbi Yeshua said that even when you knew what color fig fell in, the white and black figs that are chulin can still combine together to nullify the truma fig. So Rabbi Yeshua Mekel, Rabbi Yeshua was lenient. Okay, so the Mishnah reads, in this case, Rebbe Lezer is stringent, Rabbi Yeshua is lenient. The point being, as when we see the next Mishnah tomorrow, it's Hashem, there's going to be another case, similar case, where Rabbi Elazar is the lenient one and Rabbi Yeshua is the stringent one. One last thing about the Mishnah we just learned, the halakha is like Rabbi Akiva, that only when you don't know what fell in, then the two different types can combine together to nullify the truma. But if you know what fell in, then you're not going to be able, if you know what fell in, then you cannot combine the different chulin types to nullify the truma, because since you knew what fell in, you knew which types were permissible, which types weren't permissible, and therefore they cannot combine together to nullify the truma thing. Okay, the next two mitzvahs are the following. Mitzvahs leisasa shalave al behema shalavavi behema alav. This is a negative commandment against what we call bestiality. And that is not to do an act of intimacy on an animal and not to allow an animal to do it to you. And again, this is talking about a man. In either way, Shemar, as it says, which means, and in any animal you shall not lie. And in any animal you shall not lie with. And it's a prohibition now for a woman to allow a woman to come upon her, whether it be in the natural or unnatural form of intimacy. Shemar, as it says, a woman should not stand before an animal to lie down with. No difference between whether the animal is an older animal, a younger animal. The same thing applies to a chaya, which we translate as an untamed animal or a bird. All these, if it comes with witnesses and warning, carries a punishment of stoning, both on the man and the animal. Even we're just talking about starting off with intermission, only did hara, which is just intermission of the corona. Now, if there was no warning, the person was intentional. The person will be liable to divine severance of his life, and the animal is stoned. If it was done unintentional, the person has to bring a sin offering, and the animal is left alone. This applies in all places at all times. Basically, the point of killing the animal, if I remember correctly, is not about the animal did something wrong, because the animal has no choice. It doesn't have any kind of choice of what it has no mitzvahs. Doesn't have any choice of what it does. But the point is that having such an animal around becomes a shameful thing for the person. I mean, the person did a shameful thing. But if we just punish the person and the animal stays around, people will say, oh, that was the animal that so-and-so did something wrong with. And that would be disgraceful. That's not a disgrace that even that person should have to deal with even after his death. And therefore, that's why the animal in these kind of cases is killed. Have a great day.